See how merciful Allah is, allowing married women to be pillaged and had sex with. Allah is very merciful here, isn't he? Is that mercy? What do you think about that, H21? Tell me. What are your thoughts on
that? I'm tired and sad.
Well, I'm glad that you feel that sadness, because that means that your convictions, your morality surpasses the morality of Muhammad and the Quran. You're better than that.
So this Muslim came on GodLogic's live stream ready to prove that Christianity is violent. Bro opened the Old Testament like it was an episode of Game of Thrones. Look, God told Israel to unalive men, women, and children. But what he didn't realize is context can humble even the loudest debater. Because see, when God wages war, it's justice. When man wages war in God's name, that's where the danger starts. This conversation opened his eyes. Let's dive in.
Is Christianity violent?
Is Christianity violent? No, it's not violent.
All right, let's go to 1 Samuel 15:3 and Exodus 15:3.
Okay.
1 Samuel 15:3 says during this is warfare to kill women, children, babies, animals, and trees, and men. Well, destroy trees and kill animals. And Exodus 15:3 says God is a man of war.
Mm-hmm. So he fights on behalf of his people. So what is your question here?
The question here is, this verse is, when I'm reading it, it's violent. So how do you debunk it or refute it? Because 1 Samuel 15:3 and Exodus 15:3.
There's nothing to refute. This is during war. They were warring against the other nation. Yeah. When you asked is Christianity violent? From what I understood for your question was, does Christianity promote violence and spread, like, does it teach to spread the religion through violence? Is that permissible? And the answer to that is no. Now, are there wars that happened in the past, like in the scriptures, like with the Jews and the Canaanites and all these other different nations? Yes. The Amalekites, yes, there's wars that happen. However, when you look, you read the Old Testament, God gives them borders. They were not allowed to go to other nations that God did not give to them and say that you can have these. They were not allowed to go outside of that and like plunder people and take over just because they had the numbers or the strength and spread the religion of Judaism or the way of Yahweh. They couldn't do that.
Okay, but yet again, like Islam, Allah says, do not kill women and children during war, or elderly and sick person during war. Like yet again, yes, you're saying Christianity does not promote violence, but in the war, it tells you to kill women and kids and babies.
You're in the Hadith. It says that you can kill women and babies.
Hadith.
Mm-hmm.
Hadith. It says.
Yeah, when they were asked when they were plundering different villages and stuff, they asked Muhammad, "What about the women and children?" And he said, "They are from among them." Oh well.
So you're saying that Muhammad killed them?
No, I'm not saying that Muhammad personally killed them. I'm saying that he allowed it. It was permissible. They were casualties of war.
Like widows or like
it doesn't say what kind. It just says women and children. What about the
if you
women
say
and children?
Well, if you say like slaves, then I would If it is, if I know it does not say it, but if it's slaves, then I can like say that Islam does treat slaves well.
No, it doesn't.
They
Muhammad sold them
it does.
and slept
I
with them.
think it's Surah like 1913. 1913.
No, they did not treat slaves well. They were able to sleep with them even if they were married. What are you talking about?
I mean, no, like feed them and stuff like that.
And sleep with them, even if their husbands are still alive and they're married to their husbands. You're allowed to take that woman and sleep with her. Isn't that crazy?
Okay.
Do you think it's
Yeah.
okay to sleep? Do you think it's okay to sleep with a married woman?
No.
So, but the Quran and the Hadith teach that if you go out and you capture a woman who's married, you can sleep with her, even while her husband is there. She's your booty. She's your spoil of war. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is.
Let me show it to you, man. Let me show it to you so you can see it for yourself. I'm gonna go to so the chapter that I'm referring to is chapter 4, verse 24. And so I'm gonna give you Ibn Kathir's tafsir where he quotes the hadith about it, and then I'm gonna show you the other hadiths about it. Okay. All right. And then on the right side, I have the hadith. And I'll just show you that in a little bit. But first, we're going to look at the left side, okay? And we're going to look at Ibn Kathir's tafsir on this. So watch this. Forbidding women already married, except for female slaves. So you can have female slaves even if they're married, bro. You can commit adultery with them. That's crazy. Also forbidden are women already married, except those whom your right hand possesses. This ayah means, this is Ibn Kathir talking, this ayah means you are prohibited from marrying women who are already married, except those whom your right hand possesses, except those whom you acquire through war. For you are allowed such women after making sure they are not pregnant. Imam Ahmed recorded that Abu Sa'id al-Kurdi said, now listen to this, we captured some women from the area of Al-Tas who were already married, and we disliked having sexual relations with them because they already had husbands. So these Muslims who won the war, they even had enough sense. Like, I don't know if it's okay for us to sleep with these women because they're married. They're married. So they knew that wouldn't be okay. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now watch what happens further. So we asked the Prophet about this matter, and this ayah was revealed. Also forbidden are women already married, except those whom your right hand possesses. So what happened? So they went to Muhammad about it because they didn't know if they were allowed to sleep with these women because they were already married, even though they were captured slaves now. So Muhammad gets this revelation that says that you can sleep with them. So what do they do as a result? Consequently, we had sexual relations with these women. This is the wording collected in Jamiat Tirmidhi, An-Nasai, Ibn Jarir, and Sahih Muslim. Okay? So the Quran allows, and the Hadith, Muhammad permits committing adultery, sleeping with captured slaves who are married. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think that a woman who is married and you go and you plunder her village and you take her as a captive and her husband's still alive and she's still married, do you think that she would willingly sleep with you?
No.
So then it's very likely that this is promoting rape as well. Not just adultery with these women, but it's very likely these women were unwilling, but they took them anyway and had sex with them anyway while their husbands are there and alive. See how merciful Allah is? Allowing married women to be pillaged and had sex with? Allah is very merciful here, isn't he? Is that mercy? What do you think about that, H21? Tell me. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm tired and sad.
Hmm. Well, I'm glad that you feel that sadness, because that means that your convictions, your morality surpasses the morality of Muhammad and the Quran. You're better than that. I feel sadness too reading this. And I think a lot of the sadness will come with you believing that Islam was good, believing that Islam, helped slaves, treated them well with kindness. But that's just not the truth. That's not the case. This was some evil stuff being allowed to be done. Evil stuff. Let me show you the contrast. I don't want you to just leave off of this like just have that sadness in you. Look at this. Look at what God ordered in the Torah. So watch what it says. This is in the law, man. This is way before the Quran came, way before Islam. Right? Look at what God ordains. He says, when you go out to war against your enemies, and the Lord your God gives them into your hand, and you take them captive, and you see among the captives a beautiful woman, and you desire to take her to be your wife. You can't just sleep with her. You can't just have her. She's not your slave. You take her to be your wife, meaning she's single. She's not married. Right? This is what happens. You bring her home to your house. She shall shave her head and pare her nails, meaning she's able to groom herself. And she shall take off the clothes in which she was captured. So give her new clothes, give her fresh clothes, let her groom herself. And she shall remain in your house and lament her father and her mother a full month. So you need to give her space to be able to mourn her family after this battle, after what's gone on. Give her some time, right? You have to treat her with dignity. She's able to groom herself. You give her new clothes, fresh clothes, not the captured clothes that she was wearing. Give her some clean, fresh clothes. And she is able to, you're supposed to house her, give her housing, and let her grieve. Let her grieve her family, right? Let her get adjusted to this new life, this new area. She's in a new community now. She's in Israel now. So let her get acclimated. Then it says, so after you've housed her, she's grieved. After all of that, then you may go into her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. But if you no longer delight in her, let's say things aren't working out, watch how you're supposed to treat her. You shall let her go wherever she wants, but you shall not sell her for money, nor shall you treat her as a slave, since you have humiliated her. See, God gives the captured woman dignity, gives her grace, gives her housing, gives her status, freedom, care. This is in the law, in the Torah, in Deuteronomy, so far away from what we saw, what the Quran and the Hadith teach on how to treat the captive woman. You're allowed to sleep with her even if she's married, regardless of what she wants. You don't need her consent. And she's your slave. You see the difference?
Yes.
I'm calling you to God, not me. God is calling you to a better way, man. H21, you've been coming here, and it's for a reason, bro. God has been calling you to a better way, the true way. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is not the God of Islam, bro. He's not. It's a complete and utter difference, a contradiction with the quality of God in the Bible, in the Torah, and the gospel than what you see in Allah of Islam. You see that the God of the Bible, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God that Jesus came and made known to us in the flesh, he comes and he demonstrates to you, not just in the New Testament, in the Old Testament, how gracious he is, how patient he is, how loving he is. Yes, he's wrathful. Yes, he goes to war for his people, for his loved ones. And that would include you as a believer. He'd go to war for you. He'd go to war for you. You're his child. That's who God is. He fights on our behalf, and he takes vengeance for us. We don't have to do it ourselves. It's completely different. So he's calling you to a better way, man. He's calling you, leave this religion that has contradictions, that has moral depravity, that promotes sin, that allows you, that gives you an excuse to commit adultery. Right? In the Torah, God says, thou shalt not commit adultery. You're familiar with the 10 Commandments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt not commit adultery. But the Quran gives an excuse. Thou shalt not commit adultery except with your female captive slave. That's disgusting. That's not God. That's Satan.
You know what's wild? The Muslim said, Islam treats slaves well. But the moment GodLogic read Ibn Kathir's tafsir on Surah 4 verse 24, man went quiet like his Wi-Fi disconnected. And here's the thing most people miss. The wars in the Old Testament weren't about spreading religion. They were surgical acts of judgment on nations that practiced child sacrifice, rape, and cruelty for centuries. God's justice was precise and temporary. But Islam's warfare, it became systemic. Conquest wasn't the punishment, it was the plan. The God of the Bible tells you, if you don't love her, let her go. The Quran says, those whom your right hand possesses. One treats a woman as a person, the other as property. That's not a small difference. That's a different God altogether. And that, my friends, is why you don't debate context with GodLogic, unless you came prepared for theology and therapy. If you learned something new, or if that silent realization at the end said it all, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more eye-opening breakdowns.